The intention of this beginner flow is to leave you feeling serene, grounded, and unbothered in the face of stress, defining your energy and choosing to radiate a state of grace that emanates from within you, no matter what type of chaos may face you in the outer world. Let's begin. And beginning the practice today by placing a couple of blocks to the side of the mat, perhaps bringing one of them under your forehead as we come into a nice, easy, seated child's pose. Knees to the outer corners of the mat, chest toward the floor as far as you can reach, settling into the pose, bringing yourself to the practice and fully arriving with the breath. And as you inhale, feeling waves of fresh electrons, nurturing prana filling your system, flushing every meridian, and as you exhale, releasing stagnant energy that no longer serves you. Releasing doubt, worry, and stress, allowing the universe to transmute this energy. And on your next breath, rolling to a seated position, rolling the shoulders down and away from the ears, flattening the upper portion of the back and reaching tall through the crown, clasping the hands behind you as you take a slight back bend. Exhaling as you forward fold, bringing your forehead either to the floor again or perhaps to your block. Pointing the hands toward the ceiling and only extending the shoulders as far as they feel comfortable at this point in the practice, slowly letting that soft tissue awaken. And lowering the hands, rolling to a seated position once more, placing the hands on the knees, palms facing toward the ceiling, once again rolling the shoulders down away from the ears, feeling a long line of energy from the top of your head all the way through your spine into the floor, feeling yourself grounded in strength, your posture confident and tall, radiating a sense of resilience. And on the next breath, coming onto all fours and right into a cat stretch as you exhale, inhaling into a cow pose, finding your own rhythm here, arching and rounding the back, following your breath. Releasing any of the stagnant energy you may be carrying with you from the past days, weeks, months, years. Taking in fresh energy and releasing stagnant worry, stress, preoccupation with anything that you don't need to worry about. Looking over the left shoulder and over the right shoulder. Cleansing the meridians with breath, lubricating the spine. And sitting back into a child's pose, we're coming into some spinal rolls, so arching the back as you swim through your hands, coming onto all fours and then rounding the top of the spine once more as you sit the hips back to the heels into child's pose, and repeat, arching the back, swimming through the hands, coming to a tabletop, and then rounding the top of the spine, sitting easily back into child's pose, following the breath with your movement. And going in opposite directions from child's pose, rounding the back up into a tabletop, and then arching the back into child's pose once more, sitting back onto the heels. Deep breath in and a deep breath out, releasing stagnant energy. On the next breath, rising back into a tabletop position, and we're reaching toward the sky with the right hand, Threading the needle here and bringing the right shoulder towards the floor, right cheek resting on the floor as well. As you inhale, feel free to play around with raising the left hand either toward the ceiling or wrapping it behind your back. You can also reach that hand forward, palm on the floor. Deep breath in, deep breath out. Through the nose, replacing the left hand on the floor in front of you and reaching toward the sky with the right hand. Exhaling, replacing that hand on the floor. And inhaling, left hand reaches high, looking toward the sky, and exhaling, threading the needle, left shoulder finds the floor along with the left cheek. Deep breath into the diaphragm. Again, playing with the arm here, either reaching high with the right arm or behind the back, perhaps extended in front of you, palm on the floor. And on the next breath, replacing the right hand on the floor, reaching toward the sky with the left hand, and then resetting into tabletop. Deep breath in, and as you exhale, pushing back into downward facing dog. Deep bend in the knees. Stretching out the legs one by one, following the movement with your breath. And coming up onto the fingertips, checking that our weight is distributed evenly. With each breath, finding a little bit more room in the backs of the legs. Deep breath in and a deep breath out. Slowly waking up the body. Again, deep bend in through the knees. Deep breath in and a deep breath out. And on the next breath, we're reaching toward the right ankle with the left hand, looking toward the sky, having a nice twist. And replacing the left hand, reaching toward the left ankle with the right hand this time. Deep inhale, and as you exhale, replacing the right hand on the floor, inhaling the right leg up. We're going to be doing these controlled circles with our three-legged dog on both sides, bringing our leg into a standing L, either a little higher or a little lower depending on where you're at today, and pointing the toe, straightening the knee. We're doing little circles here, either clockwise or counterclockwise. It's up to you. The point here is to stabilize the entire body while isolating the leg as it moves. And coming back to the left side, following this rhythm. And slowly lowering the left leg down toward the floor. Coming back to the right side, slowly raising the right leg toward the ceiling, coming up as high as you feel comfortable, and then doing little circles, really stabilizing the obliques and the transverse abdominals. And as you feel more flexible and stable in this position, you can begin bringing your leg into wider and wider circles. This is also excellent for developing healthy proprioception, where your brain begins to recognize more easily where your body is in time and space. This is a really nuanced and subtle skill that you need to train your nervous system to figure out by doing these types of subtle movements. And back to the left side, moving at your own pace and your own rhythm, following the breath. Breathing open these hips, really feeling that wonderful stretch. Keeping the toes pointed and the knees straight, perhaps bending that supporting right leg again, keeping the heel on the floor. And we're going to be spending a few more breaths here, making larger and larger circles with the tip of the left toe. Only going to the place where you feel a little bit of spiciness, a little bit of an edge, sort of like a morning stretch, but it should not feel painful at all. If you feel any sharp pain, immediately back off of the pose. Playing with touching the tip of the left toe to the back of the right ankle in a controlled way, and then sweeping the left foot to the side again, up and back, and as you bring the leg to the top, opening the left hip, using gravity to give you an even deeper stretch in the hip. And I invite you to match this rhythm to the music you're listening to your breath. Really make this yours. Spend the time really getting this gesture into your body. And coming back onto the right leg, seeing if you've gained maybe a little bit more elasticity since you last were on the right side. Sweeping the right leg in bigger and bigger circles. Gaining the technique of a dancer and infusing it into your yoga practice is about becoming good at these little details, these subtle levels of technique. Bringing the left leg toward the sky once again. Not expecting too much of yourself too soon, but slowly building a foundation of good habits and really infusing them into your muscle memory over time. Opening the hip, bending the left knee, really finding a final deep stretch here, right before we move on to the right side. Showing yourself how far you've come in your flexibility just in a few minutes of playing with this pose. And maybe your knee's a little bit more bent here in the supporting leg. Bringing the left leg back to the floor, right leg comes high, one more deep stretch on the right side. Nice bend in that left supporting knee, right knee bends, opening the hip nice and wide. And on an inhale, bending the right knee into the chest and planting the right foot in between the hands on the floor, rising up into Warrior One, hips pointed toward the top left corner of the mat, and making sure that our right knee is stacked right over the right ankle. Reaching tall and exhaling, cactusing the arms out wide, palms face toward the front, shoulders down. Inhaling, reaching tall, powerful stance. Exhaling, hands come to heart center. Really grounding into a sense of resilience. Knowing yourself in a sense of grace no matter what comes at you. Inhaling, reaching tall, and as you exhale, making your way into Warrior Two. Palms toward the ceiling, shoulders down. Take a nice wide stance here, really bringing some heat to the lower body. Inhale, and as you exhale, cartwheeling the hands to frame out the right foot and stepping back into either a plank pose or coming down easily onto your knees and slowly lowering all the way down to the floor. Flipping the toes over, pressing the tops of the feet into the floor, engaging the back, and rising up into a low baby cobra, fingertips barely touching the ground. And exhaling, forehead back to the mat. Inhaling, waving the spine, coming back into baby cobra, back of the neck nice and straight, exhaling, forehead to the floor. Inhaling, baby cobra, and as you exhale, planting the palms of the hand on the floor and coming back into a downward facing dog. Deep inhale, and as you exhale, looking forward and take an easy hop or an easy step to the front of the mat, whatever you choose. Inhaling, looking forward, fingertips on the mat, flat back. Exhale, forward fold. And taking a nice deep bend in the knees here. Clasping either elbow, coming into a ragdoll. Looking to the left and to the right, really warming up the neck and the cervical spine. Releasing the vertebrae, allowing that spine to decompress and allowing any energy that no longer serves you to simply flow out of your system through the top of your head into the earth, letting the earth transmute all of the energy that no longer needs to be carried by you. And switching sides, holding opposite elbows. Deep breaths in and out through the nose, filling up the belly. And clasping the hands behind the back, opening up the shoulders. Bringing the awareness right back to the breath every time it tries to wander away onto something else. Looking forward, fingertips on the floor, or perhaps using a block. And you can use any height of the block to support yourself here. I'm using the top height. Looking forward and exhaling, waving down into a forward fold again. Following the breath, waving your back forward. Exhaling, forward fold, nose closer to your knees. Inhaling, waving the back, looking forward. Exhaling, forward fold. And begin slowly rolling to a standing position, Tadasana, on the next inhale. Reaching tall, and as you exhale, cactusing the arms out wide. Reaching tall, and then hands to heart center before we fold forward. Inhale, flat back, looking forward, strengthening and lengthening the spine. Exhale, forward fold. Planting the hands on the mat and stepping back into a nice, easy downward facing dog. Deep, deep breath, in and out through the nose. And bringing the right leg into the center of the mat, left leg extends high, toe pointed. Opening the left hip and seeing how much more flexibility you've gained in the practice so far. Exhaling, knee comes to chest. And rising up into Warrior One on the next inhale. Checking your alignment again. And cactusing the arms open. Inhaling, reaching tall. Exhaling, cactusing the arms out open again, feeling your strength and your power, chest toward the ceiling. Inhaling, reaching tall, and exhaling, cactusing the arms wide, feel the strength and the power. And bringing hands to heart center. Inhale, reaching tall, exhaling, coming into warrior two, powerful stance. Rolling the shoulders down away from the ears, rising through the top of the crown, palms toward the ceiling. Feeling your strength and exhaling, cartwheeling the hands to frame out the left foot and stepping back into a downward facing dog. Deep breath in through the nose. And as you exhale, slowly lowering either into a chaturanga through a plank position or coming onto your knees again. Either rising up into an upward facing dog on the inhale or baby cobra again, it's up to you. And as you exhale, coming back into a nice easy seated child's pose. And on the next breath, finding your way into Shavasana. Holding your knees into your chest, giving yourself a hug here, thanking yourself for the work that you've done today. And then stretching your feet out in front of you, hands to your sides, palms face toward the ceiling, eyes closed. Integrating the work that you did here. Grounding yourself to the planet, feeling yourself in a state of grace. Knowing that you've shifted yourself and reset yourself in just this short amount of time. Watching the breath travel in and out through the nose. Awareness travels from the tips of the toes, across the tops of the feet, traveling to your hips, to the belly button, up the front body towards the sternum. Feeling your heart beat. Awareness travels to your shoulders, down your arms, to your hands, up your throat, across your face, and to the crown of your head. A new, fresh wave of energy saturates your entire body, resetting you emotionally, mentally, and physically. And rolling over to the left side, the side of your heart, pushing into the floor with the right hand, and at your pace, whenever you're ready, come up to a seated position. And if you're ready to try something a little bit more advanced, head over to this ballet-inspired Vinyasa flow.